Hi Wapendwa, welcome back for another episode. Today's discussion is very sensitive discussion. Some of you might agree with us, some of you might disagree with us, some of you might even get offended, and I'm very sure some of you might be like indifferent. But regardless of what you feel, this discussion is very important for us to have it. If it comes to that level, we have to agree to disagree. But I want each one of you to voice their feeling, their understanding, their opinion in the comment section below. The discussion revolves around Somali community, but if you're non-Somali, that does not necessarily mean you're excluded from the discussion. I also want you to be part and parcel of this discussion, and I want you to do comparison and see where you feel we are the same, where you feel we are different, so that we appreciate each other's culture. And today, I'm being joined by my brother, Sugo. Sugo, please welcome to my channel, and I want you to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, my brother Abshukri. I'm Sugo Mohammed, and I think today we'll be having a discussion about culture. And as you have said, it's a bit sensitive topic, but I think we'll just speak our mind and we'll speak the way it is. And I think, yeah, basically, thank you very much for welcoming me to this channel.
I'm glad to have you, brother. So before even we go into the discussion itself, first, Somalis have different ways of defining themselves when it comes to race. Some feel like, oh, for me, I'm Asian, whereby I'm either Arab. Some say they are Israelis. Some feel like, oh, we are Black and we are Africans. Some feel like, oh, we are not Asians, we are not Africans, but we are Somali. First, I wanted to understand you as Sugu. Where do you stand in that line?
Well, basically, maybe it could be because of my skin tone, but I believe Somalis are Shiitic, the African Shiitic community, along with the brothers from Lower Ethiopia. You know, speaking of the Oromo communities, the Afar communities in parts of Djibouti. So basically, I believe and I think I am an African, Cushitic African.
Wow. I also share the same sentiment with Sugo, to just make it clear. I am African. But is Somali like race on its own, where someone can say like, for me, I'm Somali, that is enough?
I think maybe we are confusing nationality and you know, there is ethnicity, nationality, and then there is the race.
Please
I think there could be a lot of confusion surrounding that. If we talk about nationality, different Somalis have different nationalities. Some introduce themselves as Kenyans, some are Ethiopians, some as Djiboutis, and some, of course, are Somalis from Somalia. That is nationality-wise. Ethnicity-wise, I think we are all Somalis, except for some who have mixed race and, you know, they don't know how to identify themselves. Some might be willing to identify themselves with one race and with one ethnicity and not the other. And in terms of race, I think despite the disagreements, I think we all need to be classifying ourselves as Africans within our ethnicity.
That is superbly clear. Now, in the same context, I want us to talk about our superiority and inferiority issues. Where did this come from? Some Somalis feel like the reason as to why some Somalis actually want to relate themselves with Arabs or Israelis is to make them feel like they're more important than other Africans and even more important than other Somalis of different subclans. Where did this inferiority and superiority complex came in? What happened to us?
I think, first of all, I'll tend to start with the religion part of it. In the last speech of the Prophet ﷺ, is part of the speech as the mention of him saying, you know, no race, no ethnicity is better than the others. And I think it is something as Muslims, first of all, we need to focus on the religion part of it, that even if we are of different ethnicities, that does not matter that doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the day is how good and how close we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what matters most. I think, first of all, that's where we should start with. And then secondly, the issues surrounding superiority and inferiority complex. I think culturally, Somalis through the years, of course, feel that superiority, and it has been captured in a lot of old readings of how Somalis used to feel they are more superior, even to the whites initially during the colonization in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Both the British and even the Italians. But however, through the period now, this has evolved, whereby there's a lot of internally now there's a lot of discrimination, especially for the non-ethnic Somalis residing in Somalia, especially the Somali Bantus and the Somali Arabs, part of it being now ethnically being marginalized as a result of that.
Okay.
But I think this comes from the fact that there's that pride that comes with being a Somali, that you feel everyone else is another. However, I think this has evolved through the years, whereby we now want to be more closely associated with the Arab than with everyone else. So it's like quite a changing dynamic, whereby we have moved from being very superior, feeling all good to ourselves. Now we're starting to feel we want to be more associated with the Arabs than even we are within ourselves.
Wow. And the biggest issue this created for us, that I feel the two we can connect, is skin bleaching. Brownness is now overpraised, and everyone in the Somali context, in the Somali community, want to really look like brown. Even the people who are gifted with the black beauty color want to fade the black away so that they can fit in, considered beautiful, especially the ladies, considered beautiful and become part of the praised individuals. Why? What is the need? What is it about black that we feel like we really need to do away with?
Well, I think it also comes back to the societal pressure, whereby black is never considered good. Part of also that culture whereby the black cat is considered a black cat, with its all bad omens.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, I think there's that societal part of it, of communal or societal, whatever I call it, for actually associating blackness with not being beautiful, not being awesome, and basically you being judged differently for being black. And I think this now interferes with how the person now relates with others. It also interferes with the understanding of beauty among people. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if the only understanding of the society or the community that if beautiful is brown or beautiful is white for that matter, mm-hmm. what happens is those with low self-esteem now will tend to change their skin color. So I think it is more of a fad way of looking at beauty, whereby beauty is actually looked from one single point of view of just the skin color, which is not right. Black is also equally very, very beautiful. Of course, I think that is, and I think these are things that we should be saying to the community members, especially to the young girls, young adults who are actually bleaching their color, just to suit into the societal view of black being not beautiful or being less beautiful for that matter.
Okay, before even we come to the girls themselves, to the ladies themselves, what do we really need to do as men, or maybe the larger society, to change this view? Because I don't know if you remember, but whenever we're looking for a partner, priority number one, the first thing we look at is how brown the lady is, with the concept of I don't want my son or my daughter to turn out black. What happened? How can we change this so that our ladies can feel like, if I'm black, I'm still beautiful and I'm still entitled to the best man?
Well, I think it all starts with changing the perception of the young men and even the society at large, whereby there is more to beauty than skin color. There is more to beauty than the gait or how the person actually looks like. The issue of course, many will joke around saying, we don't carry around X-rays to see the inner beauty. However, what we should be focused on even is
okay.
even with beauty, it does not necessarily mean it does not necessarily mean black is bad. It doesn't necessarily mean dark is bad. No, that's not what it means. I think this now having a general, an open communication, an open discussion within our society that there is more to beauty than the skin color of the person. There is more to the beauty of the person than how they look like. Our people are exposing, especially young girls and even young boys of late, are exposing themselves to harmful chemicals just to change their skin.
Wait, hold on. Let me just process that. We were having issues with girls bleaching themselves. What happened to the boys?
Yes.
That we even joined that group? What happened? Why are boys really bleaching? Are also girls looking at how brown the skin tone of a man is?
Okay, not per se. Many girls you have a discussion with won't point out that clearly, but is that perception that this person internally, intrinsically believes a lighter skin is always better.
Oh,
that is what he wants to find in a partner.
Yes.
Especially for the young men. You'll find out he believes that that skin tone, a lighter skin tone is always better. So he starts with himself having a fair skin in this scenario, by introducing chemicals into his body. So I think it has also become ways.
Yeah, to enhance their self-esteem and how they are feeling internally, they try to change how they look externally.
Exactly, and I think it is an issue we need to openly discuss, whereby we don't need to run away from the black color. We don't have to run away. We are Africans at the end of the day, and I think it all comes back to that. The fact that once we accept we are Africans, black is beautiful, I think that will be the silver bullet to our problems in terms of skin color and race.
Okay, what happened to our culture when it comes to weddings, cultural dances? And me and you were brought up in Northeastern. Like during our childhood ages, wedding was totally different from how a wedding looks like now. All we do is more westernized and music, and there's no like cultural dances. It's 100% left out. It has actually, let me even mention one, the SAR one. The Sar Luged one is like 100%, I can see 100% dead. It's over. So what happened? Why did we left behind our culture when it comes to our wedding ceremonies? And how can we really revive that part of Somali culture?
We have intermingled two things that are not supposed to intermingle. There is westernization, then there is modernization. Modernization is not a bad thing.
Okay.
Yes.
There is westernization and there is modernization.
Modernization.
Okay.
Westernization is, for example, when you borrow all the Western cultures, leaving yours behind.
Okay.
Modernization is when you take the Western cultures, you learn it. It is more, because it's also completely also evolving. It does not necessarily mean the culture is modern. No, it's not. But cultures are evolving.
Okay.
With new technologies, with Facebook, with WhatsApp, however we speak about, with mobile phone technology, it is changing. The world is changing. That is now modernization. Westernization is now taking other people's culture as your own. So I think we have also mingled that up. The fact that now we have, especially for our weddings, we have now Arabized our wedding. I call it Arabization, the complete Arab colonization of the Somali race. Okay. Simply because what has happened, we have taken the Arab culture the way it is, the whole of it, rather than actually taking it. There are these, yes, of course, maybe we might not wear our traditional clothes for the wedding, but what happened to our traditional dances in weddings? What happened to our, and of course, when you look at them from the Islamic point of view, most of these traditional dances were actually Islamic friendly, whereby men could have their folklore dances alone, women could have their folklore dances alone. Whereby there was not that intermingling of gender. What happened to us is we took Arabization. The superiority of giving the Arab culture a superior hand overtook what was majorly our own culture. So now we have left ours behind, And we are so much into, for example, you will find most of us during wedding days, during those important occasions, we wear khamis.
Yeah, we do.
You know, that
So
comes.
how can we revive back our traditional dances?
Our traditional dances, our traditional attire can only be revived back when we first of all go back to our roots. I am not suggesting that we go back to the 18th or 17th or 16th century. No. With the modern world, we can still incorporate our culture and learn our culture in a very fun way.
Wow.
We can have centers where we can learn these cultures, whereby we, you know, what happens when when the generation of our mothers are gone, our sisters will not.
Or even when us as first generation who got education are also gone, we are the only people who can remember things like diso, things like brambur. Trust you me, you will tell your kid there's something called diso, and he'll be like, what is that?
How was
he
it
won't
played?
he won't even have an idea about it. So because of time, I need to put you in another box. Sorry. Let's talk about education. And the reason as to why I want us to just mention, not actually talk about it, just to mention education and performance of our kids is because I want to link that to our love for white collar job. I remember me and you had a lengthy discussion about the performance of our northeastern schools, and we talked about the number of students who had E, and the bigger question was, what will happen to these kids? Now, the same kids are not ready to take up some kind of jobs. All they want is the suit, the tie, the office job, the white collar job. What happened to Somali community that we look down and despise some kind of work?
Well, again, it all goes back to our culture. I'm not condemning it. I'm not condemning our culture. I love it. However, traditionally, there are these certain jobs that Somalis felt are jobs meant for lower caste system. There was that caste system within the Somali structure in the old days, okay, whereby there were certain jobs that could only be done by certain communities. For example, if it is black magic, there are those communities that used to specifically do the black magic. If it is, for example, being a blacksmith, there are certain communities who used to specifically be blacksmiths. If it is about farming, there are certain communities that used to do farming. If it is actually, doing the handy jobs, there are certain specific communities that used to do that handy job. Mm-hmm. And the larger Somalis now felt those jobs were not meant for them. Those jobs were meant for people of the lower class, people of the lower caste. With that casting system, there are those guys, whenever we're sharing resources within the Somali setup in Somalia, we call it the 4.5. These are the 0.5s. We don't even give them a whole number. They're given 0.5 of our shares.
Because they're
despised. Basically, they are despised within the communities.
Okay.
And that now, people have now associated those jobs with these other communities. And this is where it comes that we are unable to modernize. Now those are the only jobs left. This is now where modernization comes in. You're not leaving behind your culture. No, I'm not saying that. But however, for those harmful cultures, you leave them behind and you replace them with what is new. So now look at the number of technical schools we have. When you look at the workforce, let me just give a precaution for this one. Let me just come out very clearly. Mm-hmm. I'm not against the fact that we have many non-locals, many non-Somalis in northern Kenya who are doing these jobs, these blue-collar jobs.
Okay.
From masonry to carpentry to plumbing to electrical wiring. I'm not against them.
Okay.
I'm not against them.
To construction.
However, the point to construction, I am not against them.
To most of the beauticians, to the shoe shiners.
Exactly. Basically, all of these blue collar jobs. I don't want to call them dirty jobs. No, blue collar jobs.
Okay, continue before I interrupt you.
Now, it's not that I'm against them, but the whole point is they are here simply because they have seen the opportunity. We actually need them. We, the people of northern Kenya, need them simply because we have that vacancy within us. However, our young adults, mm-hmm. our younger generation are not willing to take up these opportunities. it has not yet sunk in that white collar jobs are not for everyone. We will not all have these white collar jobs.
Plus, it's already exhausted. We all got the education, we all have the certificates, we are all qualified, and the jobs available in the country are already limited. So all the positions you're looking for are already occupied. So all you will do now is sit at home, eat your mother's hard-earned income, and complain about the government.
And mind you, your mother is actually doing those jobs that you are despising.
True. Or your father.
Or your father is doing that job that you personally despise.
You're overstretching your only sibling who is maybe in Nairobi, who is like earning a small salary from white collar job, when actually you will have taken up something and maybe even created a bigger income than him.
Exactly the entire point. So I think it is that part of the culture that we need to modernize, whereby these opportunities are there. You can actually go to most of these technical schools are close to free, whereby we can take up these courses and be important people in our society rather than actually. And most of our parents believe that they actually, when you look at some of the video clips that normally circulate around, what they say is "Dalintaini way akhristeen lakin ciidahay joogaan." What means is our children have gone to school, but they are at home. Yes, that is very true. Simply because there are those jobs that we do every day that will give them very good income, but we are culturally running away from these jobs. So I think it is time we start modernizing. We start styling up, and we start taking up the jobs that we need. Exactly. Thank you very much. Because the economy of the country, we're not doing so well as a country. The job market is already saturated. However, the blue collar jobs are always available. The Juakali jobs, all of these are always available. So I think it is up to us going back to the drawing boards, making sure we modernize some of these things that are despised culturally, and making sure our youth can actually forge ahead and think about these parameters.
I'm so sorry because of time. There's a lot of things we could have talked about. We could have talked about how we left our names, how we left our dressing code, and how we copy our housing structures, how actually we left majority of our nomadism. We have to end here because of time. And I want you to give us your closing remarks, please.
I think my closing remarks will be very, very brief. I'll just maybe take 30 to 40 seconds. And I'll start with, we need to accept a few facts that number one, we are Africans. Number two, we are Cushitic. Number three, despite our different nationalities, despite our different national backgrounds, we share the same culture, and we ought to preserve the good part of our culture. And that bad part of the culture, we need to make sure and see where we can fix it here and there. However, the key thing that I'll be telling the young people is this aspect of leaving out certain jobs because they belong to people of lower classes should be an issue of the past tense. Take up these jobs, get these life skills, and I think that is where the world is going. The blue collar jobs and technology.
And the other thing also they need to appreciate is the only thing that can give you independence, the only thing that can give you sustenance, the only thing that can give you security is actually that blue collar job. Because the beauty part of blue collar job is majority of the time there's that assurity of you starting your own business through blue collar job compared to doing white collar job. So my brother, my sister out there, please, this is for you. There is nothing called like I will be looked down or I will be blah blah blah. It's up to you to build your self-esteem and do what is important for you to earn your own halal means, so that we stop running behind tenders and shortcuts and an easy way of making it. Thank you so much, Shugo. My viewers, that is it for today. Please don't forget to subscribe and join me in my next conversation. Thank you.